Welcome to Movie Night with James, where the School of Community is exercised through film. Tonight's episode is one part somber and sacred, and the other part hilarious and demonic. Our first review will be with Adam, and we'll be discussing the 2014 drama Calvary, about an innocent parish priest in Ireland given 1 week to live by his killer. The second half will be with my good friend Anthony, who's been a film critic in 2 different university newspapers, and of course, I'll also be joined by my good friend, the incorrigible and hilarious Texan, Tim. We three shall be commenting on Under the Shadow, a 2016 horror suspense thriller set in 1980s Tehran during the Iraq-Iran War. Join us tonight then for some somber reflection and good laughs. But before we start with Calvary, here's a little preview of what the second half is like for those who might be curious.
I was gonna say Ireland, but it felt like the forfeit. So I tried to pick something more exotic.
Yes, because Scotland, wow. Scotland is more exotic than Ireland.
When I was rooming with Matt, we watched pretty much all of Nicolas Cage's filmography.
Like, Babe?
Have you, seen Shamu when he's mad?
You don't say. I want something that you're excited about, Anthony. Like, whether you haven't watched it or have watched it, something that excites you.
You said no to everyone he recommended. Which one of you do I blame if this isn't good?
Yourself.
Oh no! Oh my gosh. That doll is gonna kill everyone.
The doll is gonna kill everyone. Forget the bomb. It's gonna be the doll.
That doll is pointing to the ceiling.
Thank you, Tim.
It's a sign.
Tim's here for the visually impaired.
I want to see Uncle Sam hiding in a dark corner.
There's a missile in the building. Opening the fridge.
Now.
Gosh darn it! Everybody pause.
No, we're fine.
That's it. Everybody pause. I'm sick and tired of this.
But before the fun and games, let's attend to the serious matter of one of the best films of 2014, Calvary.
I'm here to listen to whatever you have to say. I'm going to kill you, Father. Certainly a startling opening line. I was raped by a priest when I was 7 years old. Why don't you make a formal complaint? What good would it do? The man's dead.
Things you hear in confessions these days. The mess people make of their lives.
You're a very nice-looking young woman.
This is my daughter, Fiona.
But you're a priest.
I was married before I became a priest.
You can do that, can you?
It would appear so.
There's no point in killing a bad priest, but killing a good one, that'd be a shock. Could I have a word?
Hope we don't get locked in here. We'll have to make love to keep warm.
We have to ask ourselves, what does this man want? He wants to be loved. He wants to be admired.
What do you see when you look at me? You see a sophisticated, eminent man in the prime of his life.
He wants to be feared.
Is this a police matter?
No, it's a personal thing.
What did you say you wanted it for, Father?
I didn't say.
Your church is on fire.
It takes a lot of nerve to burn down a church.
Unless there's a personal angle, nobody will have a grudge against your father, no?
I'm going to kill you because you're innocent. Not right now, though. I give you enough time to put your house in order.
Time is gone, you don't even realize it.
My time will never be gone.
So you're sure there's a God then, Father, yeah?
Well, the future he knows.
Do you need help?
I have had murderous feelings, I have to admit.
Referring to the commandment, thou shalt not kill.
What about self-defense?
It's a tricky one, all right.
Run along now, Father. Your sermon is finished.
He needs taking down a peg or two. That's what he needs.
Take me down, then.
Venom wasted.
Calvary.
Yes, let's talk a little bit about Calvary. You've had a few days now to process.
Mm-hmm.
Although that evening it sounds like you had a bit of an emotional epiphany, maybe? But how would you describe it?
It was more like I had all of these feelings kind of building up from watching the film, and then as I was laying in bed, all of a sudden I opened the gates, so to speak, and it kind of washed over me. But I think that really emphasizes how it's such an efficacious piece of media or story, whatever, and that it really kind of draws out one's empathy. The loneliness of it and the being surrounded by such cynicism, and doing one's best to remain unmoved by it, and act and function in spite of it.
Not just function, but really give.
Yes, especially.
Which is quite difficult in times of duress. And the thing about Father James is that he doesn't sacrifice his well-being while he helps other people. He does take care of himself, and from his freedom, he gives freely, so that he can freely sacrifice. So it's not as if he feels like he's forced to do any of these things. In fact, that's one of the big choices that he makes. He makes it clear that everything that he does is a free choice. And that
yes, absolutely.
It was done in such an implicit way because instead of going through some kind of internal monologue or something like this, he simply looks at the coffin that's being loaded onto the plane. And I love the way in which the groundspeople, or whatever they are, the little minions that load the plane, are just acting so callously, just leaning on the coffin. And it just shows how he is needed in the world, because the world is just so ugly without some kind of sanctity.
Yes, absolutely. What really interested me was that he just kept doing it, even after he had a kind of meltdown.
Yes.
And he turned to drinking again, and he had that evening where he shot up the pub, all the stills and all of this, and then he was obviously beaten up with a baseball bat and so on.
Right.
He had that kind of moment of weakness, that kind of lapse into his bad habits, and that obviously led to him really getting on the plane to go somewhere else, and not go through with what he was asked to do, or go through what maybe he felt was destined to happen. But then he kind of, obviously, when he saw that scene, it kind of came back to himself in a way.
Right.
It was like he entered a small period of kind of sleep, and then he woke up. And then he returned back to the village. And obviously that was right at the end of the film. And even then, right at the end of the film, as he knows that he is going to be killed, he says to the very wealthy kind of bohemian who didn't care about his family, didn't care about anything, didn't care about his money or even life.
Right. Or
he
art.
says to him, or art, nothing. He was a total, utter nihilist. And in the only moment in the film where he actually comes to Father James honestly, it had to be the moment where James knew that he couldn't help him, but he said he would. Because in an ideal situation, he would have done.
Right.
Yeah, and he wasn't lying. If for some reason he ended up not being killed, he would have done exactly what he said he would have done.
Exactly.
So yeah, the idea of choice and the idea of choosing to do the right thing, even in spite of what's around you, even if you feel like you're fated to go down, doesn't matter because you stick to what's right. I mean, it's extraordinarily like anti-modern.
Yes.
Such a film. Even in far-right circles, such an attitude is utterly alien.
Right, because what would we see if this was an alt-right priest? He'd probably kill the other guy himself.
Yes, he would. He would have taken the gun. He wouldn't have thrown it into the sea, and he would have drawn quickly and just shot him, and that would have been that. Instead, he didn't do that. He threw the gun into the sea. He didn't even give the gun to the guy who asked him for it.
Right.
Because he was asked by someone if he could acquire a gun so the guy could kill himself instead of dying of old age and becoming a cripple and all of this, which you can understand. But suicide, of course, is putting one's life into well, putting the idea of one's life into one's own hands when really God gave life and God takes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because up until then, the interactions between the writer and Father James were sort of kind of, jovial and light-hearted, but kind of cynical in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
It weren't cynical to the point of the cynicism which Father James experienced from people who actually were malevolent and were wanting to be cruel to him. But it was nonetheless a sort of an insincerity masked as sincerity.
Yeah.
And that moment at the end there, that was a real moment of seriousness and of honesty and of love.
And honesty is a big theme throughout this film because, like I mentioned last time, I especially love the way in which Father James is juxtaposed against the priest with no integrity, who panders to the rich man. And it's interesting because the way in which the whole exchange about the money, about the rich man donating money to the burnt down church, and how suddenly the younger priest, well, I'm assuming he's younger, I don't know, is just much more sycophantic, and he has this grin on his face, and I just really thought that was beautiful because the way that Father James handled it was not to say no, he just took it to try to expose just how absurd this whole thing is, where he says, well, why not make it
50,000, then 100,000.
Right.
Yeah. Because it wasn't, because the idea of him saying that wasn't, oh yes, please give me your money. It was, you're an idiot.
Right. And the younger priest was kind of, oh no, Father, we can't do that. It's this veneer of respectability.
Yes, when Father James didn't care for respectability.
Right.
He cared for honesty.
Right. He was the only one there that had good measures of integrity. Whenever people ask him questions and he knows that he has to answer in a particular way, he just stays silent. He doesn't actually answer back. And, he just lets the other person think whatever they want to think.
But the best example of that you raised in our last conversation about this was in the pub, where you have the police officer saying, how on earth does a serial killer go to heaven? How can he be forgiven? And then the younger, or we could say bourgeois almost,
sure, yeah,
priest says, "Oh, you wouldn't understand these things," and obviously he gets his ass kicked by the policeman.
Rightly so.
And he says he has it coming, and James didn't say a thing. Father James said nothing.
Exactly.
He just let it happen. He didn't answer the policeman's question. But like you said, it was because obviously Father James understands that, it is difficult to understand that a serial killer could actually be forgiven.
Right.
I mean, that's bonkers to most people.
That's right. So
James lets the policeman vent his anger and frustration because it's quite justified.
Yes.
And he doesn't look down on him. He doesn't give him a snarky remark and say, "Oh, you don't understand," because that wouldn't help. That isn't a constructive act.
Right. The big theme is really that there's a different kind of wisdom and logic at work.
Yeah.
It really juxtaposes the way in which we have our earthly logic, and then we have divine logic, what is actually really and totally true, as opposed to just our own earthly wisdom. And even the idea of, how could Father James even say to the guy who's killing him, it's not too late? And if you tell that to somebody, if you tell the story to somebody, it would almost sound cheesy. It would almost sound like, oh, that's, what a weird thing to say, or what a cheesy line or something. But because we have seen the whole story, we've kind of entered into the realness of true heroism.
Yeah, and especially when he then looks him in the face.
Yeah, he doesn't turn away.
Looks the murderer in the eyes, and the murderer doesn't like that. He tells him, to look away, and he tears up because it's such a horrible. And he knows what he's doing is evil. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't like the idea that he's looking him in the face because all of a sudden he's seeing the honesty and the bravery.
Yes, exactly. I was actually reminded of a short story by Flannery O'Connor. Flannery O'Connor was a 20th century writer, and she wrote in the American South, and she died young from lupus. And one of her first short stories, was this short story called A Good Man is Hard to Find. And it has a similar scenario to what we watched in Calvary. There's this old grandmother who has a very bourgeois life and very bourgeois family. And they all go out, and you think it's just another vacation, another family vacation, and they're going to Florida and things like this. They get into a car accident, and on the side of the road, they encounter three men. Slowly, the grandmother realizes that the lead of these three men is called the Misfit. And the Misfit is this beautiful character that kind of embodies modernism and the absurdity of modernism. And the Misfit just starts executing the family. But at the very end of her life, she's going to be the last one shot. And she has kind of like this moment of grace, this infusion of grace at the very last moment. I think she was like describing her grandkids or something like this. But then she reaches out to the Misfit and says, "You too are my grandson." And then the Misfit so recoils at that idea that he just shoots her without any of the delicacy, without savoring it like he savored killing the other ones, because he so recoiled at the authenticity of it that it really bothered him. And
yeah, because he couldn't understand it.
Exactly.
He could understand suffering and destruction, but the idea that even in spite of that there is something positive, and that there is a display of love or affection or of bravery. I mean, it's something so anathema that he just had to get rid of it, had to cancel it out.
Exactly. And that's, I think, one of the great things about this film, about Calvary, because our killer wants to kill an innocent priest. You know, it'd be a totally different story if Father James was a guilty priest. But this, because he's innocent, there's an added layer to this about how it's as if the modern world wants to destroy all that is good, because it invalidates their hatred. It invalidates the idea of, I'll just get rid of my problems. And so anything good is... And it makes sense also in ourselves, in the way that which, whenever I do something evil, or whenever I feel like I'm in a sinful state, I really... Not only do I enter into the sinful state, but I avert my eyes from anything good. It's almost as if the very gaze of love judges me in a way that I feel like I'm punishing myself.
Yes, because that's the actual truth.
Right.
You know, it's the idea that, and that's why the villain, he couldn't look Father James in the eyes because he knew what he was doing was evil.
Right.
But the evil almost sweeps him up in a way.
Yeah. And
carries him along, and then all of a sudden you have this break in it where James looks him in the face, and he says, "Don't look at me." And James doesn't. He just says nothing. He just keeps staring. Everything was on the table there. Everything was open and visible, and the qualitative contrast between the two was clear as day to see. The parts which made me just feel terrible were when Father James was, when people were treating him cruelly. Like especially when he was walking to the beach, and that little girl, he caught up to that little girl who was walking in the same direction, and he just made some conversation, and then obviously her father showed up and gets really aggressive and all this,
right?
For absolutely no reason, because Father James did nothing wrong. He was the other side of the road to her. There was no way that you would look at that situation and think anything bad was going on, and yet this guy who came out of nowhere with such hatred and such verbal violence.
Yes.
And afterwards, after he drives away, Father James he's just stunned.
Right.
And because it's so bizarre. And it was moments like that which made me feel terrible, because you just want to jump in there, and say, "No, it's all right. Can we go get lunch tomorrow and discuss the Gospels?" You want to go there. You want to jump into the film and be friends with him.
Yeah.
Because you can see just how alone he is, and just the differentiation between himself and almost everyone who he's surrounded by.
Right.
And it does, and you can see it does bother him. He isn't disaffected by it. You can tell that it breaks his heart. But what other choices does he have but to persevere in spite of it?
Right. He continues to give, despite how painful it is.
By the end of the film, until just before he's about to be killed, things actually are looking up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he's fought through all of that nonsense. He's fought through all of the cynicism and cruelty and the discardment, and things are looking good. And obviously, but then the film has to go on and the story has to end. So he did manage to do that. He did manage to kind of walk through the fire by himself without aid.
Of course, Calvary being a reference to the mountain of Calvary, where Christ was crucified. And we obviously see the parallels, the very strong parallels. I actually remember a story from one of my parish priests. The reason why he became a priest was because he was from a village in Vietnam. Communists came around and they demanded that the priest turn himself over, otherwise they would start killing people in the town. And of course the village people did not want their priest to be handed over, but the priest volunteered anyway, and they burned the priest alive in front of the villagers. And this young man watched and realized something of profound value from this sacrifice, and eventually he became one of the parish priests.
Wow.
The struggle is beset on both sides because you have kind of like the two temptations. You either have the temptation of all this hardship, or you have the temptation of all of the comforts, or a little bit of both. Because parish priests can have a very cushy existence. I mean, the younger priests in this film kind of exemplified the kind of person that is looking for that. And that's obviously a trap, and obviously just another side of the same coin.
Mm. But with Father James, while it was quite physically simple, materially, emotionally and spiritually extraordinarily difficult.
Yeah,
it is very cushy living in that kind of lifestyle in a cozy little village in the middle of nowhere where everything's basically provided for you by the higher ups, and you just have to do the ceremonies and do some reading and talk to people about their problems. But Father James takes it extraordinarily seriously.
Absolutely.
And doesn't just skim the surface level. I mean, one of the most interesting parts is when he goes to a prison to speak to a lad who killed people, a serial killer.
Yeah. A cannibal.
Yes, a cannibal. He cannibalized a woman, didn't he?
Yeah.
And James has to go there and listen. Even in spite of that evil, he has to try to help him.
And he's not a pushover either. Because there are several times in the film where he just looks squarely at somebody and says, "You're just here to make fun of me," or "You're not interested in forgiveness at all. But when you are, I'll be here." And I think he mentioned that a little bit too with the serial killer. And that's kind of what pushed the serial killer to that point where he becomes more sincere.
Yes.
And I love that because I think that some people, and maybe even plenty of priests, look at themselves as just the cushy psychiatrist that will listen and just play along with what you have to say. But Father James really shows that loving someone doesn't necessarily mean pandering or padding or making it super comfortable for them. Sometimes it also means staring them down and saying, if you're going to be sorry, you have to be sorry. You have to act like it rather than just play around.
Yeah, because he is expecting honesty.
Yeah.
He's expecting the truth.
Not
only for his sake, but also for the sake of the other person.
Right.
But he's asking them to stop deceiving themselves. Because by them being dishonest with him, they're only being dishonest with themselves.
Exactly. And he tries to embody this honesty with his action. And that's quite admirable and rare. How many people do we see can do that in almost everything that they do? This is part of the reason why I found this film to be such a fascinating gem. Usually cinema is very terrible. But this really shocked me. This was really surprising. And it did not shy away from the great pain and horror and criminality of the sex abuse scandal.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, right at the end where the killer says, "Did you cry when your dog died?" And Father James says, "Yes, of course." And he says, "Did you cry when you heard about the abuses?"
Mm-hmm.
And he says no. And just as he's about to say, because it was outside of what I know and understand, you read about it as a foreign thing. Then obviously that's when the first bullet is fired.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because that's a statement and an attitude which is so ordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the crimes themselves were absolutely awful,
Yeah.
but we know that intellectually more than emotionally if we aren't involved ourselves.
Right.
And obviously, that does tie also into the fact that Father James was a good man.
Yeah.
And obviously, that would be an alien world to him, abusing children.
Yeah.
I mean, that he would have no conception of that as a person.
Although
It
he's
is
not
so-
naive, right?
No, he's not naive. no.
Right, exactly. Because even in the beginning, when the other priest was like, "Do you know what felching is?" And then, just he's not
Yeah.
naive, and yet he is innocent.
He's not naive of these things
Mhm.
because he's aware of them, but he is detached from them.
Mhm.
From the fact that his daughter self-harmed and all of this. He knew immediately, the thing about down the river, not across the street,
Yeah.
regarding cutting and all of this.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he would have anything to do with it. But he has a knowledge, but it's a detached knowledge.
Mhm.
Because by taking such an approach, he can still understand. You know that if he had a conversation with the killer who was abused as a child, you know that Father James could have helped him and he would have listened to him and he would
Right.
have shown him respect and love and all of this.
Right. This is one of the interesting things about this film, because he knew who the killer was.
Yes, he did.
And yet, when he gets into a conversation with the killer in the meat locker, but he doesn't mention it at all. He's talking about the wife.
Yes.
And he acts in such a way that he does not break the confidentiality of the confessional, even after the bishop tries his little sophistry at saying, "Oh, well, he didn't actually ask for absolution, so it's up to you." Again, not actually giving him any directives, but pushing the responsibility down towards him.
Yes, the bishop abdicates responsibility.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to have anything to do with it, even though someone under his wing is about to be killed.
Yeah,
Oh, it's not my problem, he says, ultimately.
right.
Oh, it's up to you, it's nothing to do with me. Basically what he was saying through all of his kind of intellectualism. And Father James just sits there kind of just staring at him like, not this again. You can tell that he has like with the priest beneath him, or his kind of co-priest or brother.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of, not a dismissive attitude, but just a kind of disappointment, but nonetheless detachment. And, okay, well, I'll do it myself, and I'll take things into my own hands. But he takes the right things into his own hands. He does the right thing and doesn't break confidentiality, as you say, even though it is implied in a way that he should.
Right.
If he was directed by the bishop to do it, to say, well, no, you need to involve the police and you need to, do you think he would have done that?
I think so. Because the whole time, he was always about integrity, and part of that integrity is obedience to his bishop.
Yes.
And it's as if he was asking his bishop, he went twice. He was like, please, it was implicit in what he was trying to do, give me guidance.
Yes, but the bishop wouldn't do it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so he had to figure it out himself, and he chose a path that was a lot more difficult. Even while he was there at the pub, even while his killer was taunting him, he did not snap, he did not break. He acted as if he didn't know who the killer was. I find that to be amazingly heroic, because how often do we see a person who is so committed to their word that even when there's these little, just getting prodded, they don't break their composure. Their composure remains intact. Because here's the killer, just constantly goading him. In retrospect, if you remember what the killer said when they're inside the meat locker, hopefully we don't get locked in here, otherwise we'll have to make love in order to stay warm. Just like taunting him. Just right after the confession about he was raped by the priest. Exactly.
Yeah.
In retrospect, just looking at Father James's face, the fact that he can hold composure really shows the strength of the man.
Yeah, inner fortitude.
Exactly. His inner fortitude it's really amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Very rare. Any other comments that you wanted to make about the film?
No, I think we've covered everything.
So what did you think for our first movie?
I thought it was very good. Very hard hitter to begin with, I suppose.
Yeah, I wanted a good potent movie.
Good punch to the face, yeah.
Exactly.
It was very good, very efficacious, like I said.
Well, thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
can at least have some proposals for him.
I agree. I'm also browsing Netflix at the same time. You know, I watched all of The Crown. It was actually a magnificent series.
Oh. Is it about the Queen?
It is. How did you guess?
Crown.
Yeah, very.
You liked it.
I love that it's just Crown. You liked it.
What? What? That was it? That was the answer. Why say more?
Remember we watched Calvary?
Oh, that's the one in Scotland with the priest.
It's Ireland. It's in Ireland.
Close.
No, it's, well, geographically.
I was gonna say Ireland, but it felt like the forfeit. So I tried to pick something more exotic.
Yes, because Scotland, wow. Because Scotland is more exotic than Ireland. Wow.
So yes, I remember watching.
I recently watched that with Adam. That'll be the first part of what I upload, the serious movie. And then,
Oh, I see.
You know, then we have the comedy relief.
Right. So have you seen that? There's a video of some guy explaining the difference between the UK and...
Yes, I know exactly which one you're talking
about. Yes, that was not too far off from a conversation Gorka and I had.
About what?
The difference between the UK and England and the United Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Or the British Empire, all those things.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Which role do you think I played?
I think you played the role of the idiot.
He wasn't being an idiot. That is legitimately confusing. That's why they went and made a whole video of it.
It's confusing to Americans. Well, I don't know. It's probably confusing to a lot of people.
I mean, it's like, okay, but when they play hockey, it's a different thing. When they play football, it's one thing. And in geopolitical terms, it's another thing.
Where did hockey get into this?
I forgot. Soccer. There. And then and then they're
hockey?
in the EU.
Wait. You thought hockey.
Well, I was getting Canada was trying to influence me. All right?
You thought hockey was the American equivalent of soccer.
It's because I was thinking of Canada a little bit because of how they're also in England.
What? Wait, what?
Or,
what did you just say?
Or part of the British Empire.
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy none of the UK lads are here because they would be in anaphylactic shock. They'd be frothing at the mouth. Oh my gosh.
Wait, Canada is not part of the British Empire?
It's part of the Commonwealth.
Don't they say
now.
God save the Queen? And have a picture of the Queen on their money?
They do have a picture of the Queen on their money.
Very well.
You know, the British Empire no longer really exists. They're just kind of the Commonwealth realms now, you know?
I see.
Yeah.
So we don't call it that because that sounds bad.
Yes.
But is it any different?
A little bit, yeah. It is. They're practically independent countries now. Before they were dominions of the British Empire. So
I see. Well, okay. All right. So it doesn't have to be a scary movie. It's just as I was thinking and I saw things, those are the ones that come up.
Scary movie, you say?
Well, it doesn't have to be. You saw the ones I suggested, right?
Let me take a look at what you suggested. You suggested The Shining, which all of us have already seen. Frequency, which only you have seen, I believe.
No, but it wasn't. It was like Netflix was stupid. Like, it was showing me Limitless, and I was like, okay, I'll watch Limitless again. And then it's like, oh, it's a TV show. And I was like, all right, well, maybe it's good. And then, no, it wasn't. It's just CSI, and Law and Order and all of those things. That's the same show every episode.
Oh, I see.
Hello.
Oh, James.
What's up?
Hi.
Hi.
Remember back in the day, whenever we actually didn't know who it was, and so we would answer different, and then we're like, "Oh, it's you." You don't remember this actually, because I'm older than you. Nope, I guess you don't.
No, I mean landlines are still a thing. Just like you, I used to have my own landline back in the day.
Oh, really? Did yours have 3 different numbers?
Why would I ever need 3 different numbers for my landline?
That way you could give out one number to certain people and another number to certain people and another number to certain people, and it would ring differently, and so you would know kind of who it was. This was before caller ID.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yes, I am. I had 3 different numbers at one point whenever I was 17.
Wow.
And a pager.
A pager in the 80s?
Well, yes, when else would we have them? But no, it wasn't it wasn't in the 80s. Because the oldest I would have been in the 80s is 13.
And you're telling me you didn't have a pager when you were 13?
No, I did not have a pager when I was 13. None of this started until I was 16 and I got my own job and had my own money.
Uh-huh.
That's what I spent it on, a pager bill and a phone bill.
Wow.
Well, and other things.
You kind of need the other things.
Yeah, well.
Man cannot live on pager alone.
Right? That's right. I'm always afraid to pick the movies.
Why?
Because, Look, I'm eating popcorn out of a Target shopping bag.
I'm not including that into the podcast.
You have such different tastes than I do.
No, I mean, just tell me. I'm in the mood for anything tonight, even if it's terrible.
Even if you pick it.
Yeah.
Right. I understand.
I'm gonna add Anthony to this call.
I just watched The Beaver.
The Beaver? What's
Yeah.
The Beaver?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson made a movie called The Beaver?
Yeah.
Okay. What's it about?
A depressed executive finds a strange way to cope, letting a beaver puppet speak for him in a British accent.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
It wasn't bad.
They have Yu-Gi-Oh! On Netflix. Wow.
What?
No, you don't.
Oh, I might have to go in a minute.
Okay, great. Good.
Can you hear me?
Hello, Anthony.
Yes. Hi, and
Hello.
welcome.
How's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I was tutoring, and there was a bunch of students that have an assignment that's due at like midnight. So they were like
Oh, wow.
asking me a bunch of questions.
You should have just told them to suck it up.
So yeah, what did you guys pick out a movie?
We were looking through Netflix just now. Did you?
Have you guys
Go
seen
ahead.
The Impossible?
The Impossible?
Very good dramatic movie.
Are we in the mood for drama?
Have you seen Babe?
Babe?
The pig?
Written
The
by
pig
George
movie?
Miller? Yeah.
Uh,
It's awesome.
awesome in a good way or awesome in a bad way?
Awesome in a good way. It's a legitimate 5 out of 5 movie.
What?
This is Babe Pig in the City or Babe?
Well, both of them are good.
I'm confused now. There's a movie called
How are
Babe.
you? Yes.
And the sequel
about
is
a pig.
Babe Pig in the City.
Why?
Oh.
Why are these movies? Why are these good?
Because they're magical and fun and heartwarming.
But my heart is cold and cynical, bitter.
It's heartfelt, feel good, and imaginative.
I'm like in the mood for a horror movie.
Are you?
I am, because you're both here, and I love horror movies when I'm with friends.
Let's see.
I was telling Tim that I just finished rewatching Calvary with Adam, and so I am already done with drama this week because I cried twice again watching that movie.
Oh, I've heard good things about Under the Shadow.
Under the Shadow.
Even though I'm not quite sure like what it's about exactly. The trailer's pretty vague.
And that girl looks creepy. And so does her mom. Oh my. But it's PG-13. Are you sure about this?
So is The Ring. Thrillers, supernatural thrillers, horror movies. During the Iran-Iraq conflict, a Tehran woman caring for her daughter while her husband is at war is gradually convinced evil spirits are at work. So you've heard good things about this.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd like to watch this. I'm kind of interested. Is there? Let's add that to the list. Okay, so what's Under the Shadow? That's on the top of the list right now. Let's go through like maybe 5-10 minutes of other recommendations before we commit.
Wow, 10 minutes, 5.
Okay, well, yeah.
I've also heard good things about The Wailing.
The Wailing,
which is a Korean horror.
The Wailing. Okay, The Wailing has now jumped to number 1 on my list.
Yeah,
I didn't find it.
Wait, well, I searched for it, Tim. What did you say, Anthony? You didn't want to watch it, or you
Oh no,
did?
I do want to watch it.
I'm just afraid.
Even though I'm kind of iffy, I'm usually kind of iffy with Korean movies, but
why?
They're a little too random for me sometimes.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I'm kind of worried that it's going to just be very bloody, which they can be. Huh.
Hellraiser, which kind of sucks. The book is better. Sharknado 4.
Oh, goody! Let's watch that.
Oh, look, Childhood of a Leader's on
No way.
Netflix, James. It thinks I would give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 1.
So
really?
am I. Done.
What is that?
It's
James and I watched it, a few weeks ago.
It's a piece of crap, is what it is.
It's really pretentious. What was it? Post-World War I movie?
So, yeah.
About a kid who eventually becomes a
dictator.
fascist dictator.
And like all the trouble that he gets into, and who was the one who did the music? Scott.
What is his name?
Yeah, I forgot. Scott Walker!
Scott Walker, yes.
May he rot in fire.
Wow. Wow.
And be saved, of course. Just rot in fire, because the music he makes is just, I hate it. Okay, so far we have The Wailing and Under the Shadow. The Babadook's on here, that was a good one.
No. Are you serious?
What?
The Babadook was not good.
Yeah, we liked the Babadook, remember?
We enjoyed our time together, making fun of the Babadook.
No, you're thinking of something else.
You're right. You're right. Matthew and his brother were scared, and I wasn't. And I was having fun making fun of them.
No, you're thinking of the other movie that I can't remember the name of.
Oh, you're right. Where all the children just wanted to be hugged or something like this.
The
and nothing
orphanage?
bad happened.
The Orphanage, yes.
That was... I'm sorry for recommending that one.
Wait, it's
a great story, Anthony. No problem.
Is The Woman in Black 2 any good?
I even like the first one.
You did not like the first one?
Blood Valley, Seeds Revenge.
Wow. A lot of these look like they...
Oh, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is a lot of fun. It's a comedy, a horror comedy, about these guys who, like, accidentally become redneck killers, but, like, they're not really. It's really funny, just the situations they get into.
I'm not in the mood for comedy. Well, not for that kind of comedy, I think. See, that's the thing about horror movies. I feel like what people in general recommend are not the movies I like.
Gratuitous violence and jump scares.
I like jump scares.
Right.
But, see, I really don't mind jump scares much, because it's like the roller coaster effect.
Like The Nightmare had a few good jump scares.
Oh, I love that. I love that movie. That documentary.
Pay the Ghost.
Pay the Ghost?
I've seen that. Yeah, I remember that, I think.
Isn't Nicolas Cage in that?
Yes.
Shouldn't you automatically like this movie, Anthony, because of Nicolas Cage?
I automatically want to watch it.
Oh, really? Okay, so Tim, you've watched this movie.
I don't remember if it was good or not.
Okay, that sounds like a
I'm
bad
not
sign.
known for my ability to remember movies. No, I don't remember. James, I don't even remember watching Better Call Saul with you.
I told you that when I was rooming with Matt. We watched pretty much all of Nicolas Cage's filmography.
I don't know. This doesn't look very good, honestly. To be honest, guys. Knowing another Nick Cage movie. What?
That's watchable. It's
watchable.
Decent. I would want to watch it again.
Really? But you're okay. How about this, Anthony? Which movie that I haven't seen or Tim hasn't seen that you would be most excited to get our reaction, whether good or bad?
Okay, let me check my watch again list.
Yeah, do that. And Tim, do you have any of those types of movies?
Nothing comes to mind right now.
I almost want to say Babe.
Oh, are you serious? Like, Babe?
If you guys are in the mood for a true crime documentary, there's Amanda Knox.
Amanda Knox.
Which is a pretty interesting case. I met the lead geneticist that was working for her.
Really?
For her case.
She was twice convicted and acquitted of murder. I want to add this to my watch later.
How much dialogue does it have?
How much talking does it have? How many words does it have?
Oh.
Does it use words?
Well, I like courtroom dramas with witty dialogue.
Oh, so is the other reason why you wanted to ask.
Well, what's the other one?
Just talking,
Oh. Okay. You mean like you thought it was like I was asking how many pictures there are in the book?
Right? Exactly. You know what? The Wailing might be too much of a risk. So Under the Shadows so far, I think, is the top pick right now between...
All right, let's do it.
These three. But I just want to be sure, is there absolutely any... I don't want to watch Babe. Like, I just can't. I can't take that thing seriously. Maybe when I'm in a quirky mood.
There's The Impossible, too.
I'm not in the mood for drama.
I bet it'll make you cry.
I bet it would. I'm done crying. I've cried twice during Calvary already. I just don't want to cry anymore. I want something fun. I want something with my friends. Something action-y or horror or, where I don't need to think that much. And I don't want to watch Babe.
Man.
Let me watch the trailer for The Wailing. Actually.
What's he watching the trailer for? Under the Shadow?
The Wailing.
The Wailing?
The Wailing. You must not close your eyes.
How are you spelling whaling? I see swimming with killer whales.
Yes, a horror movie about whalers.
Have you seen Shamu when he's mad? He's scary.
Whale, yeah.
I have seen Blackfish, that documentary about how deadly the killer whales are because they make them so depressed and said
it doesn't tell me what language it's in. Ooh. I was at a Korean spa earlier this week.
Ah, yes, you were.
And Korean food earlier this week.
So that means...
if I watch a Korean movie, it'll be like Korea Week.
Korea Week.
Korea trifecta.
And all you need to do is just play some StarCraft. And then you'll be completely Korean.
Is that Korean too?
It might as well be. Okay. I wasn't impressed with the Wailing trailer, though. Under the Shadow looks better.
Okay.
Under the Shadow it is, gentlemen. Unless anybody else has any other suggestions at the last minute while I load the Shadow.
Wait, did we check Amazon?
Do you have Amazon Prime, Tim?
Of course. Who in their right mind doesn't have Amazon Prime?
Oh, The Witch was actually
Trial.
super creepy. Did you guys watch that?
I like the ending of it.
Me too. Yeah. But it's like, it gives me chills. But it doesn't give me chills of like being super scared. It just creeps me the frack out, you know?
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, we don't want to watch it, actually. I wouldn't recommend watching it. Ouija Summoning. Is that any good?
Oh, is that the newest one?
2016.
That one was overall good.
You don't sound... I want something that you're excited about, Anthony. Like, whether you haven't watched it or have watched it, something that excites you.
He said no to everyone he recommended.
I'm not watching Babe! Please!
He's had like 6 of those so far.
Do you remember Halloween, Tim?
Which one?
The old one.
Oh, like you mean the movie?
Yeah. Okay. You're right. I was totally blanking on why you weren't understanding me.
I don't think so.
You never watched the original Halloween?
No, I didn't watch horror movies until you showed me one.
Was the first horror movie?
Well, I'd seen Scream. I'd seen Scream before, and I thought all horror movies were like Scream. You know, stupid, and all they were about is making you jump and seeing how much blood they could put on the screen. And so I was uninterested in them until you showed me actually good ones.
I think the first one I showed you was The Exorcist.
No, I think it was The Ring.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
The Ring is probably my favorite scary movie of all time. Okay, I didn't see anything good on Amazon Prime. Did you guys see anything? Okay, Under the Shadow,
No.
it looks like.
Which one of you do I blame if this isn't good?
Yourself.
Oh, fine. Very well, then.
Under the Shadow.
Green.
Okay, green.
3, 2, 1, go.
خوب بد دیدم
خانه ازامم کنن ایلام
اینجا که درست وسط جنگه
خودتو بری من میترسم
دادر عزیزم تو تا چشم به هم میزنی من برگشتم
این کوفتی که نیومده همینجور بیاد بالا سر ما مطمئنم با خودش یه چیزایی آورده اینا بابان هر جا بری میان دنبالت
همه دارن جمع میکنن شهر میرن
محمد جمع کنیم بریم
نه نمیشه کسی برش داشته
کی برش داشته؟ هیچ کی برش نداشته جز من و تو هم هیچ کی توی این خونه نیست دیگه از شرشون در امان نیستیم
چون که اونا دارن میان
I hope this isn't just all a big allegory. The monsters just represents war or something.
The Great Satan. It's gonna represent the USA. What if I'm right, and I just get so disappointed by this movie?
What are those Muslim habits called again?
Hijabs, I think.
Hijab.
Although I think there are like different types. So like the ones that cover the face are called something different, I think.
Burqa or something?
That sounds right.
Wait, why was she kicked out?
For something that happened when she was younger.
Now where's she gonna get her gender studies and race relations degree?
Right.
Wow. United States?
Not with Trump and administration.
No.
Oh, she was a med student.
Yes. She looked prettier with that hijab on.
Better with the bag over your head. Good grief, James.
Oh, I might cut that out of the podcast. Whoa, what was that little thing that was...
Oh no! Oh my gosh. That doll is gonna kill everyone.
The doll is gonna kill everyone. Forget the bomb. It's gonna be the doll.
I hope it's the gin.
It is!
What?
Who sleeps in a long-sleeved shirt?
Who sleeps with their watch on?
Oh, you're right! Well, they have to be ready to leave very quickly.
That could be it.
Oh no.
She's so scantily clad.
Well, she's in the house.
She's in the kitchen.
Ayatollah say.
The kitchen is her natural domain.
You're right. Wow. That doll is pointing to the ceiling.
Thank you, Tim.
It's a sign.
Tim's here for the visually impaired.
I am scared. I am legit scared of that doll.
It's like a sweet doll.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. This is the 80s.
So you remember a TV like that, right, Tim?
Yes, my parents had one like that. It just died earlier last year.
Thanks be to God.
You guys are so old.
Right?
Yes.
I had 90s TVs. This poor woman being corrupted by Western media.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're right.
She's possessed by Western influence.
The great
She wants
Satan.
to. She wants to work outside the home. She's disobeying her husband.
Yes. I almost forgot that this was a scary movie. Supposedly. Uh-oh.
Get kicked out.
Uh-oh. She's scared. The little girl's scared again. But this time, the father isn't here.
Ooh, she's gonna sleepwalk now. The girl's actually not talking.
Uh-oh.
I want to see like Uncle Sam hiding in a dark corner.
Wow.
I'm kind of scared right now.
Does look like there's a blue man in the corner.
It's just a giant... Oh, I hate it when music does this. Music can set... Oh, gosh! Don't do that, movie. Don't do that. Jin.
Oh.
I knew it. I knew it.
Opening the fridge.
Now.
Gosh darn it! Everybody pause!
No, we're fine,
that's
we're fine.
it. Everybody pause. I'm sick and tired of this. Thankfully, we're still early enough. I'm so tired of this. I'm at 101.13. 101.
Wait, okay.
13.
101.13. Going to 101.13.
Both of you go
Or sorry, going to 101.06 because it's backwards.
Yeah, I'm going to 101.06.
I'm at 101.05.
Everybody go to 101.05. Lock the door! Lock the door! What are you... Oh, no.
It's gonna get locked.
No, not the doll.
Of course the doll.
There's a missile in the building! So, you're saying I should reach in with my hand and pump the heart directly?
Yes. I think they get...
Well, you can't, yeah.
Usually they have to like inject something straight to their heart to get it to beat again.
Like in The Rock?
Or Pulp Fiction.
That poor roof.
Time to move to Egypt.
To Egypt! No! That's the
Or
wrong...
Saudi Arabia.
No, that's... No! These are Shia people! Saudi Arabia is like the complete opposite of where they want to go.
Or...
The next...
Canada?
They go.
I think the next highest
Afghanistan.
No. I think the next highest concentration is Syria.
Well,
I've heard that statistically, and this happened in London too during the bombings of World War II. If people survive a bombing, it makes them more resilient and makes them feel that they're more able to survive and continue living there.
Well, that makes sense.
And statistically speaking, do they survive?
Is she gonna sleepwalk again? Oh, jeez! Okay.
That was good. I like that.
Yeah.
That was a good jump scare.
I was not expecting that at all, actually.
It does look like she's sleepwalking. Or she's not awake. I love how...
Oh my gosh! It's the doll!
I knew that doll was going to be back.
This is great.
There it is. Told you the doll was going to kill people.
No, this is like my sleep
I'm
paralysis.
going to pretend this is really happening and it's not PTSD.
That's like a nice piece of toast.
You don't like toast.
I don't.
سلام یا الله
YOLO.
YOLO?
Oh.
Okay, this movie is starting to creep me out.
They need a Jinn exorcist.
Right?
Right?
What do Muslims have for exorcism?
3 a.m.
I don't know if I'd be able to sleep in that same bed.
It's the jinning hour.
I'm afraid of another jump scare. Here it comes. Uh-oh. Tension rising. The moral of the story of so many scary stories is never sleep.
Right?
Oh crap! This is bad.
It's all bad.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That was great.
Don't go for another one! I would actually laugh if the same thing happened. Okay! Okay! Call a priest. Get me an old priest and a young priest right now. You would what? You would jazzercise.
What would you do?
I would get an old priest and a young priest.
She needs a bottle or a lamp. Put the genie in.
Right.
Okay, lady, it's time to go to the grandparents. Even if you don't like the in-laws, it's better than a frackin' wind demon.
Lots of Jinn. It's a whole family of Jinn.
Is she gonna use duct tape? I guess tape does. I guess tape does solve everything. Oh,
hey, what up? Okay. I mean, this is one of those things in panic and stress. It's like, what, you know? Okay, may as well. Maybe it'll at least give her a warning if he came through again.
Oh boy.
Oh no. That's always bad whenever the phone goes off at the same time someone knocks.
This is.
Oh! Open the door!
Oh,
I totally would have not opened the door. Well, maybe I would have if I was defending my child, but I...
Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh.
So many different genies.
Oh my god. Oh, it's a it's a knife.
Oh no.
That's
oh no. Don't.
Whoa.
Why don't? Oh my gosh. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Whoa. What if the bomb actually killed them all?
And they're
Ooh.
in purgatory.
Okay. Then.
Muslim purgatory.
Wow.
Oh. Okay. We're getting to the part where it's just going to continually do this now. What do Muslims have to fight this? Do they get like holy water? Do
They need a lamp. That's all they need.
That's right.
The phone's off the hook.
7 days.
Yeah, right? When the girl was there with the smoke coming out of her mouth, the mom said, "Take me instead."
Tape? It's always tape!
That's what they taught her to use in school.
Oh, don't let her out of your sight!
Nope. 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 Nope.
Coming,
Nope.
John.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
You idiot.
That's not
Oh,
your
look.
daughter.
That's not her
Oh, wait,
child!
That's
that's
not
her.
your daughter.
That's not your
Jean.
child!
That's a Jen, that's not her.
Look at her face! Look at her face! Hurry up! The thing behind you is your actual
Oh, is it the mute boy?
Or maybe it's a double bluff. Maybe that
Oh, no.
was really her daughter down there.
No. They did just kick her daughter in the head.
I'm legit scared right now. I'm like, with all the lights on.
Oh, no.
Mom, why'd you kick me in the face?
No, don't look under the bed! Oh my gosh! Ah! Ah! No, this is terrible! Look at her face already! Oh my god!
Wow. Wow.
Okay. Okay. That wasn't as bad as I thought. It was not as bad as I thought.
No, it was kind of funny, actually.
Okay,
It was
good.
like a giant carpet bit.
Okay, I'm gaining courage. This is fine. Oh, for frack's sake, just fracking burn the doll already. Oh no, they're gonna get caught by the police again. Real
Oh,
enemy.
and she's got no, she doesn't. Oh, it's gonna be because the door's jammed because she doesn't know how to close it.
Turn the
Just
car on and kill
go
her.
there, good. Well, no, she's just gonna ram it. I mean, the building's been bombed. Ram it.
Ramming speed.
Yeah. There you go. Hit the nitrous.
Hit the nitrous. Right. That's great. Under 1970s Persia. Hit the nitrous. Great. Oh, is it over?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for version 2 to come out to see what happened, because they still have the book and they have the head of the doll, and that's
Under the
it.
Shadow 2.
Wow. I really like that movie, actually. It really
It's pretty scary.
pumped me up with good scares.
Yes.
I was a little confused by the
Very fun.
mechanics of the djinn.
What? They get something of you, and then they own you.
Like how there was like multiple of them, and like where it came from, what its purpose was.
Yeah.
I think there was only ever one. And
Well, there was like an old man version and like the ghost.
was the old man was actually the old woman, but because we never saw what it was underneath the cloth, it could have been the old man.
Well, I mean, it was that face thing, that thing that looked like, Kermit, that was under the bed.
Oh yeah, then there was the teeth monster. Yeah.
Right, the teeth monster. There you go.
Teeth monster. I need to get a better look at that. It was so dark. What did you guys think?
I liked it.
It was good.
It was scary. It was well made.
Any specific details that you guys liked?
Well, I like whenever there's suspenseful like that without being like obvious scaring. I don't
Obvious
like
scaring.
things like yeah, like in what's the one, like Exorcism of Emily Rose or something like this. Like that was actually like, okay, it was scary because there was a mystery to it and the little clues here and there.
Oh my
I really
gosh.
was though disappointed that the doll didn't eat someone's face.
That doll was fine. It didn't look creepy at all.
The doll looked creepy to me.
Oh.
All dolls do. Maybe it was growing up with all the sisters.
Okay. Actually, my sister gets pretty freaked out by dolls as well, and I don't blame her.
My mom has like 100, maybe 150 dolls all around the house.
Oh.
Like 150 in plastic cases.
Tell her
That
to
is
stop
a lot of
it.
dolls.
Anthony, do you remember the doll at my dad's family house?
Oh yeah, I do.
The creepy one on the...
We like took a picture of it.
Yeah. I was pretty pleased by that selection because I love horror movies that don't have blood or excessive amounts of it.
I'm glad we at least got to see the djinn. I was worried that it was just going to be a big metaphor and that it was never really going to make an appearance.
Right.
I liked how they drew us in, thinking that it was the wrong child, and then it was the right child. It was a double bluff, like you said, and then she kicked her own child in the face. That was good. It's not often I'm like fooled by these things, and so I like it when I'm fooled.
Right. That was a great element to it because they wanted both of them.
Yeah.
Sleepwalking never really came into play.
I think you were right. Well, it helped because it led us to wonder, okay, is this just her sleepwalking?
Right.
You know, is she the djinn and she doing it while she sleepwalks or something?
So it was a red herring.
Yeah. It was just like the war. There were lots of red herrings here. Just like the war, the whole thing with the war was red herring. I thought that this was actually better than the Babadook.
Oh, yeah, way better than the Babadook.
But it had like a similar dynamic, if you think about it. You know, mother and child.
Yeah, mother and child, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I think that it followed a very good formula with some twists that added good flavor. The double bluff was probably my favorite twist. Some excellent jump scares in there. I thought overall it followed a good formula, but it had some innovations. And, you know, it got us to care about the main character first because of her plight with the university. We cared for them because they were in a war. Mm-hmm. And I liked it that they built it up in such a way that it was believable for us to feel the tension between the mother and the daughter. We felt for the kid when she got kicked in the face and left down there.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But it all worked out, and we believed the whole thing about them being in duress and having a strained relationship. Anthony, what did you think? And then we'll go to Tim.
I like the cinematography in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Like during the scary moments when there was that deep humming would start, and then the camera would like start floating around the characters.
Yes.
And you knew that like at some point something was going to appear, you know, as the camera was moving.
What was it? Like when she was laying down?
Yeah, that was my favorite scene, my favorite shot. She was laying down, the camera just like follows. It was almost like it was rigged to her.
Yes.
And so it was moving with her.
Right.
As she sat up, and then it panned, and then the girl was standing right in front of her.
That was my second favorite.
I was a bit disappointed in the djinn. I didn't really understand what it was trying to accomplish or what its purpose was.
I wonder, though, if maybe it's because we're not Persian or we're not Muslim, right? Maybe there's something more obvious about jinn motivation that we don't know about. Like maybe there's a whole mythology surrounding child abductions or something that we have no idea about. Or
that's true, yeah.
Implicit rules. Because obviously, like when we watch movies about demonic possession, it's like the Catholics in the room are like, well, we know what's the deal here, but the mother and the child that, you know, with the possessed child has no idea what's going on. So maybe it's the same thing here, because especially that mean old Muslim lady was like, I know all about jinn and blah, blah, blah. You know, whereas the mother is like, this isn't real. So maybe she didn't know. And maybe the audience is like supposed to know what she should know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could very well be that. But I mean, even still, they should have provided some explanation from that cultural background.
Well, maybe it's implicit. Like, maybe everybody should already know that. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, demons obviously want to drag our souls into hell. You know, that kind of stuff. I don't know what it is about jinn. I'd have to read up on it and look it up. Tim, your comments on the movie.
It was very good.
Okay. Did you have a favorite scene? Or favorite scare? Or...
Well, the double bluff. I was wondering if the jinn had something to do with punishing her for trying to be modern. They did destroy her jazzercise tape. She got thrown out of the college for doing something. She got arrested for being out in public without her headgear on.
And one of the jinn's forms was that burqa.
You know, I mean, maybe that's the story that we don't know. You know, that another audience would. That's what jinn do. If you start breaking our old traditional rules, they come in and get you.
You could be threatened with execution, and a genie could haunt you.
That's right.
That's right.
Your punishment might be lashes, and your child might be abducted by a supernatural air demon.
That's right. You might have to live the rest of your life in fear of the tooth monster. That's correct.
That's rich. Oh, well. Okay, well, gentlemen, any other comments before we end for tonight?
That about does it for me.
Tim?
Yeah.
Well, thanks again,
That's
gentlemen.
it. Thank you very much. Very, very good time.
Excellent. All right, have a good night, everyone.
All right.
Talk
Good
to you
night.
later.
Bye-bye.